Deb? Yep, okay.
Missing one.
Oh. I hear him. Yeah, I hear him.
Three.
No, you.
1, 2, 3.
Good morning. Welcome to the May 7th, 2019 Scott County Board of Commissioners meeting. Welcome. And please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The agenda has been distributed. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, we will approve as distributed. Next on the agenda are the minutes of the April 16th, 2019 County Board meeting. Any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Madam Chair, I actually read the minutes, and they are a pretty close approximation of what happened last time, so I will move them. I will move the minutes.
Been moved and seconded to approve the April 16th, 2019 County Board meeting minutes. Any discussion? Did you have a discussion?
Nope, no discussion.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving those minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next on the agenda is a time where we recognize interested citizens. If there's anyone here who would like to address the board on an item not on the agenda, please approach the podium. You're limited to 5 minutes per item. Wonderful. Seeing no interested citizens, I hope they're all watching on TV, we'll move to new employee welcome. I do want to thank our new employees as Commissioner Beer and I met with them at 8:30, and they stayed and viewed our Community Health Board meeting, which I'm sure was interesting and gave them more insight on some of the activities of the county. But we do want to welcome you. We have 5 new employees who we met with this morning. I'd invite you to come to the podium, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about your role here in Scott County and where you came from. You can all come on up and then we'll get started. So, thank you.
Good morning. I'm Neil Eaton. I will be with program and delivery. I'm half construction, half design. My background, I came from residential construction, so I'm switching over to roads. This summer, I'll be on the overlay projects.
Wonderful.
So
thank you. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Maddie Strowing. I am at the Workforce Center. I'm in Health and Human Services. I'm doing administration at the front desk, intake, and the like. My background is in administration. I did a lot of scheduling and front desk work at my previous job. So I'm excited to be here and learn more.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm Betsy Rutt, and I am in Home and Community Care. I will be a nurse case manager for our aging and disabled population.
I'm Haley Misquick. I am a community health specialist with the SHIP program in the Health and Human Services Department. I have a background with other public health agencies, as in Head Start and Early Head Start, and along with WIC. And I will be working on our strategies with schools and our emergency food programs in the county.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Molly Bruner. I'm the Director of Community Corrections here in Scott County. And my background is I've worked the last 19 years for Ramsey County Community Corrections in a variety of capacities. I also have a background in teaching. I teach at Metro State University in our LADC program. And so I've spent my career working on best practices in corrections and helping us, the discipline, kind of evolve with research and practice. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Great. We're excited to have you. Wonderful. Let's give our new employees a hand and a welcome. We're glad you're here. Thanks for joining the team. We hope you have a long, happy career here at Scott County.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move on to the consent agenda. The items on the consent agenda, there's 15 of them. They've been previously workshopped, discussed, often entertained by our planning and advisory committees. I'll go ahead and read those items, and then if any commissioner wants to remove one from the consent agenda, we will take that separately. 6.1, to approve the contract renewal between Scott County and the Department of Human Services for the Fraud and Prevention Investigation Grant for state fiscal years 2020 to 2021 in the amount of $100,000 per year. 6.2, to adopt resolution number 2019-056, authorizing entering into contract number 1033264 with the Minnesota Department of Transportation for federal participation in advanced construction for County Project 2127 located in the city of Prior Lake. 6.3, to adopt resolution number 2019-057, awarding a contract to Pearson Brothers Incorporated for the 2019 County Seal Coat Project. 6.4, to adopt resolution number 2019-059, authorizing an amendment to the 2019 highway operations budget. 6.5, to adopt resolution number 2019-062, awarding a contract to Peak Heating and Cooling for the replacement of the radiant heaters and the installation of destratification fans at the Central Shop facility in Jordan, Minnesota, and amending the budget for the capital improvement program. 6.6, to adopt resolution number 2019-063, awarding a contract to Jackson and Associates LLC for the roof replacement projects for the Central Shop, Extension Building, and the Marshall Road Transit Station. 6.7, to adopt resolution number 2019-064, authorize entering into a joint powers agreement for an intersection reconstruction project at County Highways 2 and 91 with the city of Elko, New Market. 6.8, to adopt resolution number 2019-069, rejecting all bids for the County Highway number 5 bridge replacement project in Helena Township. 6.9, to authorize staff to issue a concrete and asphalt storage and recycling facility solid waste license to Mathewitz Construction Company at 22071 Johnson Memorial Drive, Belle Plaine, Minnesota, in Belle Plaine Township. 6.10, to adopt resolution number 2019-058, authorizing entering into cooperative agreements with Cedar Lake, Jackson, and Louisville Townships for their participation in the 2019 Seal Coat project. 6.11, to adopt resolution number 2019-060, authorizing extending the joint powers agreement with the City of Burnsville for the administration of various annual roadway maintenance contracts and authorizing for Scott County maintenance services included in the 2019 contract. 6.12, to adopt resolution number 2019-061, authorizing the submittal and acceptance of the Minnesota Trail Assistance Grant Program application for Scott County Snow Trails Incorporated for the 2019-2020 snow season. I hate to talk about that season yet. 6.13, adopt resolution number 2019-067, approving the multi-agency law enforcement joint powers agreement with the state of Minnesota for the Minnesota Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. 6.14, schedule a closed meeting for May 21st, 2019 at 11 a.m. to consider and discuss labor negotiation strategies. And 6.15, to approve payroll processing of personnel actions. Colleagues, there's our items on the consent agenda. Any that you would wish to be discussed separately?
Nothing that I want to pull, but just to clarify, 6.8 was bridge number 15,
What did I say?
bridge 5, so just
Oh,
wanted to,
yes, thank you.
just wanted to
15.
clarify that.
Madam Chair, I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
And I'll second it, Madam Chair.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Some important stuff. We'll move on to item 7.1, to adopt resolution number 2019-055, proclaiming May 6th through 12th as National Nurses Week in Scott County. And Noreen's back, thank you.
Okay, I guess I didn't blow it up after all.
You did not.
Thank you,
There we
Chairperson Brecky and Commissioners. I was telling my husband this morning how proud I was to be able to participate in this proclamation this morning with Sheriff Hannon. I've been a nurse all of my career, and it's been a reflective time for me. This is National Nurses Week, May 6th through the 12th. This was started in 1993, and this year's theme is 4 million reasons to celebrate, because that's how many nurses we have supporting the health of our nation. The last day, May 12th, is the birthday of Florence Nightingale, and she was the British nurse during the Crimean War who established nursing as a profession. And as I understand, due to her social standing in Britain, nursing was kind of an ill-fitting career for her. But this woman was truly a maverick. She was a planner, a manager, a trainer of many nurses. She was statistically inclined. She was very futuristic in her thinking. And so I feel a great deal of pride in following in her footsteps. And so today what we would like to do is honor the nurses that are employed by the county and take a look at some of their roles. And I will be asking people from various departments to stand when we get to them. We'll start with our own public health nurses. They work on preventing disease, injury, disability, promoting health, and the maintenance of the health of our populations according to the CHIP plan that Dr. Wilcox was talking about. Our public health nurses work with early childhood development, parenting, disease prevention and control, vaccinations, and many other activities. In 2018, they provided about 1,400 home visits to families that are at risk for adverse childhood events. They completed over 400 directly observed therapy visits and gave nearly 1,000 vaccinations. And I would like to thank them at this time for their high quality services that they provide. So let's have our public health nurses stand. Now, I'm sure that there were nurses that when they were in their training, they thought that they would never do their work behind bars, but we have correctional health nurses employed by the county who work with our inmates in the jail. These are often individuals that have been traumatized earlier in their lives, maybe through neglect or abuse. Often they've made choices with substance abuse issues, which is what's landed them to where they are. They're often a population that has lacked good quality health care in the past, and so our correctional health nurses have some unique challenges in working with these clients. In 2018, they booked about 5,400 individuals were booked into our jail. Our nurses saw over 1,000 patients, filled about 2,500 prescriptions. They've worked incredibly hard to maintain and advance the health of our inmate population. So I would like our correctional health nurses to stand at this point. They're behind bars. Okay. And I think they're a little short-staffed right now, aren't they? Okay. Okay, and then we have our nurses in home and community care. This is a multidisciplinary team of nurses that work with people who have long-term care needs, maybe chronic health needs or some disabilities. And we have, last year we had 4 home and community care nurses that worked with over 500 elderly patients and individuals with disabilities, completing needs assessment, providing case management, so that these individuals can remain in their home with a higher quality of life, and this saves us significant amounts of public assistance dollars. So I'd like our home and community care nurses to stand, please. Thank you. We also have a psychiatric nurse that works with our mental health center. I see that she's not in attendance this morning. She works with the chronically and persistently mentally ill that are served by our mental health centers. She provided services to 312 clients, did 196 mental health screenings at the jail, and addressed about 1,100 mental health crises, screenings, did problem solving, returned phone calls. I can't imagine working with her population. I think it would be an incredibly stressful job, but Wendy Zierman always seems to rise to the occasion and seems to enjoy her position. So we'd like to thank her this morning as well. Cheryl Kolash, I don't see in attendance this morning either. but she works with occupational health and employee relations, providing health services and programs in workplaces that promote safe, injury-free, and illness-free environments for our employees. I had her with me with a group of nursing students one day, and she talked about how much she enjoys working with employees who have maybe had some health issues and redesigning their work environment or getting them situated in a place of employment where they can work successfully, and how that's a really important part of her role. And so we would like to honor her today. All of the nurses that we have talked about have served as mentors from time to time for nursing students doing clinical rotations in the county and looking at non-traditional and more public health oriented roles. And so I would like to thank them as well for their contributions in these clinical rotations. And at this point in time, I think I'll turn it over to Sheriff Hannon to read the proclamation for today.
Thank you. Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. When I signed up to read this, I forgot I'd have two other proclamations today. So when my time gets short, Commissioner Beer, just give me the signal so I know to wrap it up.
5 minutes.
Yes. All right, resolution number 2019-055. Whereas nurses in the United States constitute our nation's largest healthcare profession, and whereas the depth and breadth of the nursing profession meet the different and emerging healthcare needs of the American population in a wide range of settings, and whereas the American Nurses Association is working to chart a new course for a healthy nation that relies on increasing delivery of primary and preventative health care, and whereas a renewed emphasis on primary and preventative health care will require better utilization of all of our nation's nursing resources, and whereas professional nursing has been demonstrated to be an indispensable component of the safety and quality of care of hospitalized patients, and whereas the demand for nursing services will be greater than ever because of the aging of the American population, the continued expansion of life-sustaining technologies, and the explosive growth of healthcare services, and whereas more qualified nurses will be needed in the future to meet the increasingly complex needs of healthcare consumers in our community, and whereas the cost-effective, safe, and high-quality healthcare services provided by nurses will be an increasingly important component of the United States healthcare delivery system in the future. And whereas the American Nurses Association has declared the week of May 6th through 12th as National Nurses Week, with the theme 4 Million Reasons to Celebrate, a nod to nurses, sheer numbers, and an open invitation to thank a nurse for enriching our lives and the world we live in. Therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners in and for the County of Scott, Minnesota, that we ask for all residents of Scott County joining in honoring the nurses who care for all of us and celebrate nurses' accomplishments and efforts to improve our healthcare system. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Colleagues, is there a motion?
I will move to adopt resolution number 2019-055, proclaiming May 6th to the 12th, 2019 as National Nurses Week in Scott County.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution number 2019-055. Any discussion? Just have one item. Noreen, you did a wonderful job highlighting all the nurses here who work for Scott County, but I believe you forgot to mention yourself. We thank you. We honor you for having the vision to manage the varied nursing that is needed just among our employees, among our constituents. So thank you very much. I think she deserves a round of applause. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of this resolution, of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda, is it Sheriff Hannon? Yes. Resolution number 2019-065, National Police Week in Scott County. Let's hear about that.
All right. The purpose of this agenda item is to adopt resolution 2019-065, proclaiming May 12th to the 18th as Police Week in Scott County. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the calendar week which May 15th falls as National Police Week. National Police Week pays special attention or recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in line of duty for the safety and protection of others. President Clinton also signed Public Law 103-322, which directs that the flag of the United States on all government buildings be displayed at half-staff on May 15th. National Peace Officers Memorial Day. There are more than 900,000 sworn law enforcement officers now serving in the United States, which is the highest figure ever. There were 144 law enforcement officers killed in line of duty in 2018, increasing 12% over the 129 officers killed in 2017. Of those killed last year, 52 officers were shot and killed, and 50 officers were killed in traffic-related incidents. Among the officers who died in 2018, the average age was 41, and the average length of service was 12 years. And on average, each officer left behind 2 children. The National Law Enforcement Memorial in Washington, D.C. honors federal, state, and local law enforcement officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice for the safety and protection of the nation and its people. A number of commemorative ceremonies are held in the memorial each year, and the site is visited by nearly 250,000 people annually. Currently, there are more than 21,541 names engraved on the Washington Memorial in Washington, D.C. The men and women who provide law enforcement in Scott County are dedicated professionals who work every day around the clock to protect and serve the citizens who live, work, and travel through Scott County. This resolution is to show support and appreciation and to say thank you to the men and women who serve as deputy sheriffs for Scott County, along with the police officers who serve within the communities of Belle Plaine, Elko New Market, Jordan, New Prague, Prior Lake, Savage, Shakopee, and the Shakopee, Midwauken, and Sioux community.
Madam Chair, if you're looking for a motion, I'm happy to move to adopt Resolution 2019-065, proclaiming May 12th to the 18th, 2019 as National Police Week in Scott County.
Second?
Moved and seconded to adopt resolution number 2019-065. Any discussion or comments?
Just, Madam Chair, thank you for your service. I have a little brother that's a police officer in a major California city. It's quite a bit different than here in Scott County, but still I get to hear pretty much on a monthly basis what it's like on the streets, and thank God for the thin blue line that helps keep society civil. Thank you for what you do. Appreciate it.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. And I believe item number 7.3, adopt resolution number 2019-066. Sheriff Hennon.
And just to be clear, you've got 23 seconds left.
I'll roll it in.
5 minutes per item.
Oh, sorry.
Down to like 12 seconds now.
Person and item.
Just want to note, we have a lot of our corrections officers here, so the nurses are currently holding down the fort across the street, so I'm gonna wrap this up quick. The purpose of this agenda item is to adopt resolution number 2019-066, proclaiming May 5th through 11th, 2019 as Correctional Officer Week in Scott County. In 1984, President Ronald Reagan signed Proclamation 5187, creating National Correctional Officers Week. Each week, the first full week of May is recognized as National Correctional Officer and Employees Week, commemorating the contributions of correctional officers and personnel who work in jails, prisons, and community corrections across the country. Scott County Correctional Officers have the difficult and often dangerous assignment of ensuring the custody, safety, and well-being of over 138 inmates daily in the Scott County Jail. Their position is essential to the day-to-day operations of this facility. Without them, it would be impossible to achieve the foremost institutional goals of security and control. In recent years, the duties of our correctional officers have become increasingly complex and demanding. They're called upon to fill simultaneously custodial, supervisory, and counseling roles. The professionalism, dedication, and courage exhibited by these officers throughout the performance of these demanding, often conflicting roles deserve our utmost respect. The important role of corrections officers often do not receive the recognition from the public they deserve. It is appropriate that we honor the many contributions and accomplishments made of these men and women who are a vital component in the field of corrections. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'll move to adopt resolution 2019-66, proclaiming May 5th to 11th, 2019 as Correctional Officer Week in Scott County.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution number 2019-066. Any discussion?
Madam Chair, just having been through the jail on a couple of tours and having actually had one of my children as one of your guests over there one time, I recognize that corrections officers are dealing with people who probably don't want to be there. Most people who wander through the courthouse have some business here, they want something from us, or they're here voluntarily. When you're in the jail, not so much. And so I recognize, though, that when it comes to an orderly and safe society, the work you do, while often unsung and seemingly thankless, is a very important and necessary part of government. And it's one of the things we do as government. We pass laws, we hire people in the police department, sheriff's department to enforce those laws, and when people absolutely refuse to cooperate, they get to be guests of yours. Thank you for what you do. I just want to say thanks.
Yeah, I would also like to say thanks. My son worked alongside you for a number of months on his kind of way to becoming a police officer. He'll be becoming a police officer May 22nd in Colorado Springs. So, but he had a great time and working with you guys and the experience it gave him. So thank you.
Well, Madam Chair, I should close the loop on my son. It was, you treated him fairly and straightforwardly. It was not a pleasant experience. It was the wake-up call he needed. Thank you for being part of God's plan in his life and being the wake-up call he needed.
And he probably won't go back.
No, if he does, he'll come back with Commissioner Ulrich leading the jail service this time.
I've often joked, I was not going to say this, but I've often joked, I've done jail church services for 19 years, and I thought, well, if I ever get in trouble, I should get some time served, you know.
Get credit for the time served.
Yeah.
This is so important. The nurses, the police officers and sheriff deputies, and the correctional officers, really the core of what we do and what our purpose is here, to provide public safety and public health to Scott County. So, you know, we get bogged down in budgets and policies and things like that, but thank you for this opportunity today to recognize all of you, all of the people we're recognizing for the work they do every day, because it really is core government function. It's difficult and hard, and I think for all the three professions we're recognizing today, it's not straightforward. Yep, you may have majored in or pursued a career in nursing or law enforcement or corrections, but you're doing psychology and social work and planning and really hard, important stuff that changes people's lives. So thank you. We should be thanking you every day, but we need to recognize you on a regular basis. So really appreciate you for choosing public service. Any further discussion on this motion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to committee reports and commissioner updates. Commissioner Wolf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the 17th, I had the Insurance Committee. We looked over a few ratios, and looks like they may be settling on about a 3% rate increase. That evening, I was at the Spring Lake Township. We had a comp plan meeting. Brad Davis led that, and very good meeting between my four townships. Well, actually, three were there. Credit River is going to become a city, but Cedar Lake, New Market, and Spring Lake were there, so all in pretty much agreement. On the 18th, had a meeting with some YMCA folks and how that's going. On the 22nd, I met with the County Administrator, Leslie Vermillion, discussed some upcoming issues. After that, the WMO Watershed Management Organization met in this room here. A lot of projects on the schedule for this summer that they're going to take care of. On the 24th, the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District met, and they're putting out some preemptive strikes to control the mosquitoes. Just so you know, that as soon as the snow is gone, here the mosquitoes come, and as soon as the mosquitoes are gone, the snow comes. So they kind of are in two seasons there.
Got us coming and going there, don't they?
That's right. So after that, it's over at the Capitol. They're talking about the T21 and the tobacco 21 age there. So it looks like that's going to move through. On the 25th, the Vermilion River Joint Powers Organization met. They have quite a few projects going on. Elko New Market met that evening, the city council. And on the 26th, Future Leaders Day, we were here pretty much the entire day, and I thought they did pretty good. I thought it was a really good group of kids that day, and we always have, but boy, you know, we used to sit behind those kids during the meeting, and I never liked that, you know, whispering in their ear. I think we just let them be, and boy, they really do a good job. So, on the 30th, the board workshop, talking about the future of where we're going. And then last night, Credit River and Cedar Lake Township met. Both of them were very well attended. People, especially in Cedar Lake Township, there's been a lot of frost boils and road problems there, and one of the supervisors, the chair, Rob Punkachar, said it best that, you know, you moved out into the country, and these are, you know, big, long roads, and there's not many people living up. This isn't like city living where they're gonna come and plow your roads, you know, right, you know, sometimes it takes a little while, so, and the frost boils, that's just part of country living, and so it's a tough deal. I also spoke a little bit about, you know, I don't know much about the whole road thing. I know enough to be dangerous, I guess, but it's all geology. I had 32 on my thermometer this year, and the frost went down, from what I understand, 6 feet, and so it's going to have some effect. And we don't live in Florida where they have, you know, the big cold temperature swings, so it's very tough with that. But they, I guess, are coming to grips with some of that. So it's going to take more money. But anyhow, that is my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
A question for Commissioner Wolf.
Yes.
What township did you say was interested in becoming a city, or are they going to be?
Credit River is, has, you know, they're filing their own.
They are filing the paperwork to do it.
For the Met Council and, yeah, stuff, so, yeah, they're looking, they're into it.
Okay.
They've already taken on some of those roles.
And they've been talking about it since I got on, so it's
Yeah,
been 10
it's been
years
talked
or so.
about forever.
But, they're taking the steps to move in that direction and do their own planning. I don't know if they're gonna do their own planning, and so you know, none of that's been completely worked out yet, but that's the direction they're trying to head, so.
Thank you.
Good. Any other questions? All right, Commissioner Beer.
Thank you. On the 25th, attended the 13 and 21 open house at Fong's and Prior Lake, and that was very well attended. MnDOT was there, of course, our folks were there, a lot of very interested citizens, and you know, Jake was very busy behind the table with Tony, I mean, a lot of folks were there, very engaged, very interactive, and it was busy pretty much from start to stop, so that was good. I think a lot of good questions were asked and answered. 26th, as Commissioner Wolf alluded to, Future Leaders. I thought it was a very engaging day. The questions, would we have drones, vaping, and was the school? I can't remember. I think that was the
Year-round school, yeah.
Yeah. Year-round. They passed that unanimously. No. Very engaging group. A lot of questions asked at the lectern. It was it's always a fun day to see the next generation engaging in this crazy world of public service. On the 30th, also mentioned the strategy meeting in Belle Plaine. I always appreciate those very open and candid, transparent conversations, so it was fun being down in Belle Plaine. And then 29th, I guess, back up, Leslie and I, on the behalf of the board, were delivering what matters, thanking folks by way of a small token, a little water bottle, but just something to say, hey, we see you, thank you for what you do, and it was down at Public Works. It was ironically rescheduled. We were going to be at Public Works earlier in the month, but to bring some pizzas to the snowplow folks because of a crazy winter, but they had a snowstorm. So we did it, we felt fairly safe at the end of April, but again, that was on behalf of the board, and just to say a little extra thank you for all the hard work that happened for the winter. So plowing, pizza, pop, and water bottles. And that concludes my report.
Wonderful. Thank you. Commissioner Beard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the 17th, I had breakfast with our local state representative, talking about transportation issues in particular and how the session ends in general. And it was just a good time to impart a little advice and counsel and hear his perspective on how things are winding up in St. Paul. That evening, I attended the Lower Minnesota Watershed District meeting in Chaska. I should point out that our appointee to that board, it's a 5-person board, Jesse Hartman has been doing a yeoman's job. He is now the chair of that commission. Carver County hasn't had its seat filled in 5 years. So if anybody knows someone from Carver County, they really need to have someone there. Dakota County's been vacant for over a year, and so they always struggle to make quorum. But they're moving forward with some dredging things and things to keep the ports in Savage open for business. On the 18th, 169 Coalition get-together at by the Yard down in Jordan. That was well-attended and I think a pretty effective meeting. On the 19th, the AMC Board of Directors meeting. We talked about how things were going in the legislature, but one of the things that was an interesting discussion item was that the AMC asked every one of the 87 counties to pass a resolution of support for the governor's transportation plan or something like that. 20 counties have said, no thank you, we're one of them. 67 counties have passed it. Some of them have said we need more money, but this might not be the only way. So it's just an interesting discussion AMC's having about particularly the transportation bill. On the 22nd at breakfast with the administrator, always enjoy staying connected with Leslie and hearing about things and being able to give some feedback before it gets to the board level. 26th, of course, the future leaders. A great time was had by all. The 26th, attended the St. Francis Saints Foundation Gala at Mystic Lake. On the 30th, of course, the budget strategy meeting at Belle Plaine City Hall. On the 2nd, we had Transportation Committee meeting, and we got to meet, I think probably as importantly, Mike Barnes, the new Metro District Engineer, who's taking over for Scott McBride, who's retired. We also learned the sad news that our friend John Solberg is being promoted, and so we'll have to train a new one in, I guess. Madam Chair, that's my report.
Thank you. Commissioner Elrick.
Yes. On the 17th, I attended the Transportation Advisory Board. The 18th, our ongoing meeting with the Savage Mayor and Administrator. That same evening, again, we had the 169 Corridor Coalition meeting that's been reported on by Commissioner Beard, but I just want to highlight what a gracious host they were, and they gave us a really great tour, and they fed us, and we made them honorary members of the 169 Corridor Coalition. But they were really great to us. It was a great night. The 23rd, Fish Partner Relations. I might have already reported what we're doing with Fish in regard to outreach and partner relations. We're going to be having a series of 7 meetings in each city for Fish, and the sponsor will be the mayor, and then any other community group that he thinks might want to be a co-sponsor with us. And so we're going to have a meeting to talk about Fish to new people that would come to the meeting, and then our existing partners, kind of help them and encourage them in the good work that they're doing. The first one is going to be in Elko Newmarket, and I'd really love it if the county board members came to the ones that were in your area. That'd be fabulous. It's going to be the 28th of May. So far, that's the tentative date at the Elko Newmarket meeting room that's next to the library there, or part of the library there. So that's what I would like to highlight to the board on that. On the 26th, Future Leaders, and then that evening I also attended the St. Francis Gala. My wife is actually going to be starting tomorrow as the nursing administrator at St. Gert's. So that was kind of the reason we were there. It's part of that. 29th, we had a partner relations meeting with Mayor Joe Julius in Elko Newmarket, and we talked about the first open house we're going to have. The 30th, the strategic planning workshop. The 2nd, I called in for the Transportation Committee meeting. I was out of town, but called in for that meeting. And unless I didn't pick up on things, it's harder to get a sense of the meeting when you're calling in versus being there. But we had such warm relationships with Scott McBride, and I think we got a fair amount of work to do to build relationship, friendship, team up with they're great people. It's just new, and they're in new roles and stuff. But it's change happens, and we're sad to see Scott going, but we have to adjust to the new what's before us. On the 6th, the Suburban Transit Association, their lobbyist James Clark said his feeling or sense at the legislature is that very little, if any, of this transportation package will pass this session. That was his take. That's just one person's take, but we'll have to watch and see. Then the Mobility Management Board later the same day. That's the end of my report.
Great, thank you. My report on April 16th, I attended the PROACT board meeting in Eagan. The relationship seems to be still going well with New Options and PROACT. A great positive board. They're really working through all the state and federal requirements. Things are going well, at least as from the board level. April 18th, the Scott County Library Board of Trustees meeting. We met at Shakopee Library, heard a lot about the Readmobile, the number of families it's reaching, and the other outreach activities of the library. So much of the library's activities are happening outside of the libraries. April 19th, the Dakota Scott Workforce Development Board. Many job fairs, a lot of work to try and reach those folks who maybe for whatever reason aren't seeking employment and getting them to see opportunities and hopefully find employment. April 22nd, the Metro Alliance for Healthy Families, where we get some of the funding for our home visiting program that was talked about this morning. April 23rd, the chair-vice chair meeting. Also on that day, I attended my first Spirit of Scott committee meeting. That was a fun committee. Just want to let you all know that the barbecue that committee puts on for all employees will be June 12th, so hopefully you can participate in that event. Later on April 23rd, I attended the Live, Learn, Earn Early Childhood Committee. That committee is working hard on a texting campaign for parents about tips and advice, especially for those youngest kids, parenting the 0 to 5-year-olds. On April 24th, I attended the first meeting of the Scott County Child Abuse Prevention Task Force, a group that's been put together from people from the county, from cities, from schools, to really look at how we can do better and keep kids in their homes, keep families intact from a fiscal perspective, not have kids in out-of-home placement. Also on April 24th, the Metro GIS annual meeting with our friends from the other metro counties. We heard about how our collaboration on GIS data is progressing, all that open data that's available on our website, the data that helps our transportation department. It's exciting, the advances made in that area. April 25th, it was sad but fun to attend the Tim Cleveland retirement party. Some great recognition of all his work. He will be missed, but it was great to meet Molly this morning also. That evening, April 25th, attended Jordan Commercial Club. It was their annual meeting, and at that meeting they recognized John Brunig for his community service and all he's done for the city of Jordan. But the impact to us is John Brunig was the deputy register in Jordan for, I want to say, almost 40 years. He did a great job, went through a lot of change, and it was fun to be part of that recognition. April 26th, Future Leaders Day. I agree, the kids did a great job. And then also that evening, I attended the Spirit of Saints fundraiser for St. Francis and St. Gertrude's. April 30th, I attended our county board strategic plan and budget workshop. On May 2nd, I was happy since Commissioner Ulrich called in. As soon as he was off the phone, I was able to come for the luncheon tour with our MnDOT representatives. We headed down to 16941, and I think what was really good, in addition to what Commissioner Beard said, is having Mike and John see some of the issues on that project and to try and I know Mike even said seeing it firsthand helps a lot, and I think we're going to be able to go back to the table and come to even some better solutions for some of that work.
You should clarify which Mike and John you're speaking of.
I'm sorry, Mike and John from MnDOT,
Yeah,
not you
there
two,
you go.
yeah.
We're quite a team,
That evening, May 2nd, I attended the Shakopee Downtown Main Street dinner and then also Louisville Township meeting. Louisville Township, a lot of road work, a lot of talk about the frontage roads, very, very busy meeting. The folks from Seavers Corn Maze were there doing some of their planning for their move out to Louisville Township. On May 3rd, I went to Buy the Yard with Congressman Congresswoman Angie Craig. Nate Fowler, her staff person, attended the 169 Corridor Coalition meeting, was so impressed. The Congresswoman, when she was in town Friday, wanted to learn more about By the Yard. Got a firsthand look at getting in and out of By the Yard on what should have been not a rush hour time, and she said, I had to tell Nate to gun it to get across. So I think it was good for her to see firsthand some of our challenges on that corridor. And then finally this morning, welcomed 5 new employees, which was fun, and we got to meet them. County Administrator update.
Madam Chair, just a reminder that May 9th is our Resilient Communities at the, thanks Commissioner. May 9th is our Resilient Communities, the final report from the students that we've been working on in some of the assessing and transportation and library areas. And you're all invited to attend that. I think Commissioner Brecky is speaking at it even, saying a few words. And then our next board meeting on the 21st, just a reminder for your calendars, we start at 8:15 that morning with a workshop. So we start a little bit early on the 21st. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, and probably a good reminder that that 21st meeting may be a bit longer meeting, so make sure we plan on that. Deanie, do we need to recess for attorney-client meeting?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, we do not.
Wonderful, thank you for that good news.
Good day in Scott County.
Before we adjourn, just a reminder that we will meet in a workshop setting, maybe in about 5 minutes, to talk about the Regional Recycling Center Waste Facility, Scott County Information Technology Security Report, and the USDA Broadband Grant Opportunity. Any further business to come before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. The meeting's adjourned.